So it's pretty difficult when you have to explain someone end games in just one lesson, not even a full hour. So what are we going to do here? I'm going to show you like one of the most important things in the pawn end games, and it's called the opposition. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Take a look at this one. What the opposition is. So this pawn is going upwards.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, the assessment of this position depends on whose turn is in the game. And it's not the same if it's white to move and if it's black to move. So what's going to happen if white has to move? And what if black moves? Can you give me your assessment of position? I know that you probably don't have any knowledge about this type of endgames. You don't have to panic. Don't worry about that.
And what happens if black has to move? I would assume he would want to move up to d6 so that the king can move up to e5.
I agree.
And if white moves...
And king d6 is certainly one of the moves for black to make a draw. Another one is going with the king on e6.
And then
what happens if white moves?
I would probably move the king up first, right?
Where? On e5 or on d5? That's very important because it's not the same.
Almost certainly on e5.
No.
Really?
Actually, that's exactly the point of this rule in the endgames, and it's called the opposition. What the opposition is, when you...
Is it
first of all,
okay.
First of all, how many types of opposition exist? There is like short, medium, and long opposition. Short is when the distance between two kings is 1 rank. Medium when it's 3 ranks, and a long one when it's 5 ranks. What is a short one? When you go just in front of this king like this. And why should you go like this? Because if this king goes here, you once again go with the opposition, and you now force your opponent to commit himself to decide whether he wants to go on e8, in which case you go on c7 and you say, sorry, baby, but now I got that king on c7 who's going to help promoting this pawn to d8. Or if you go on c8, you just go on e7.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the rule? The rule is like you're forcing this king to move away on one of the sides, in which case you go on a different side. So, and what the rule of the opposition is, once again, you're just squeezing out this king and forcing it to go on one of the sides. If it immediately goes on the side, what are you going to do, Cody, here? Let's go.
Do I just put my king to c6?
Exactly, because you go on another side.
Yeah.
And now your opponent says, but I'm going to play king d8.
You move back to d6?
Perfect. Because you just take the opposition.
Yeah.
This is a great and of high importance role in the pawn endgames. And you can't win your games if you don't know this rule.
Okay.
And when they play king c8, you just go on another side and push this pawn. Same thing happens if they go here. You just go like this, and they can't stop this pawn.
Okay.
There is another rule here. What's going to happen if in the same position, it's black to move? So let me just do it when black makes a move. Then black goes into the opposition. But here, the opposition is not that important in this specific case when it's black's turn, because you give check, they go here, you go here. Once again, you can go on any of these squares, it should be drawn. But you always go in front of the pawn. So if I go on one side, you should go in front of that king. If I go here, you just go here. But it's pretty much not important as until the pawn reaches the 6th rank. When the pawn reaches the 6th rank, this is the crucial moment. And I've seen so many weaker guys who are absolutely unfamiliar with the following rule. And the following rule says, black has to be the one who has to get the opposition. How are you going to do that, Cody, here? So it's black to move. The question is very simple. Should you move your king to c8, d8, or e8? Actually, you can't move it anywhere else. So those are the 3 options. And now you just have to tell me where should you place and move your king back.
I'm pretty sure e8 is just not good.
I won't accept that as an answer. I need like a background explanation after that. So if you say e8 is not good, you got to explain why.
I can't explain why. It's just intuition. I guess
I know, but I want to force you to understand what you're saying. So basically, if you say king e8 is not supposed to be a move, it means nothing to me. That's just an empty word. But if you tell me, Maya, I don't want to go on e8 because he's gonna take the opposition and squeeze my king out with this 7. In which case, I gotta go here and then he's promoting. I would say, Cody, that was fantastic, man.
I guess you have to go on d8, right?
So now you have 2 more squares. We eliminated 1 square.
Well, you just have to go on d8, I think, because king comes around, try to push your pawn up.
Because if you go, so king on e8 would be a huge mistake. Why? Yeah. Because white is the one who takes the opposition with a king e6.
Yeah.
So should you go on c8?
No, same exact thing.
Because I go here, and once again, I am the one who take the opposition. And when you go here, I'm just squeezing you out.
Yeah.
You go here, I go here and promote. So this is like a very important rule here. Not only I don't know, today, actually you just have to remember this for the rest of your life. You need in this position to go in front of the pawn. But if I just tell you go in front of the pawn, that sounds stupid and without like a pretty good background. So why do you actually go there? Because you're waiting for white to come up with his decision. Whether he wants to go on c6, in which case we take the opposition.
Yeah.
And then when he moves, sorry, baby, but now you can't win because if you go here, it's still me. Or if you go on e6, I'm the one who goes into the opposition, and then you can't beat me. So once again, if in this position, you always go in front of the pawn because your king is waiting white's king to decide. If it goes on c6, you go on c8. If it goes on e6, you go on e8.
Okay.
That's important to know, and that's one of the rules. Another thing, when it comes to mating by queen, I want to show you just something. Maybe you're gonna. This is just to be faster.
I watched your video last night.
Watched the video with my son.
Yeah.
Did you see what I taught him?
Yeah.
So what do you have to do? You gotta constantly cut him off.
Yeah.
So cut him. And now this is the space that the king has. He goes here, cut him.
Yeah.
And now you're slowly but surely cut all these squares. He goes here, you cut him out. But please, I actually wouldn't show you this position. Please, there are like 2 rules. First rule, don't use the king unless you force his king on the 8th or 1st rank.
Yeah.
That's the first
I've learned that
important.
the hard way. I've tried this and I learned it the hard way.
Because you probably still made it
Yep.
your opponent.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, man, man.
I absolutely did.
If I saw that happen to you in the Smashers Gambit during the stream, I would probably shoot myself. I'm the worst coach in the world. So basically,
That would be
let me
100%
break-
on me. Don't worry about you. That's 100% on me if it happens.
So the first rule, there are only two rules that you got to remember. You only use your queen until you force the king on the back rank, 8 rank, or wing files, or H files.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then you can use the king. And the second rule, you should not stalemate the king in only one way. There is only one way when you do it only with the queen. Tricky guys can go here, you go here. They go here, you go here. They go here, you go here. And now they will go here. Just watch out not to put your queen on f7, please. This is the only stalemating position that you have to remember.
Okay.
So if the queen goes on f7, then probably you should forget about this game for the rest of your life. Say, I'm going to be a gamer. I'll never play chess again. And that's it. But you actually go with king, queen d7, or anything else apart queen f7. And now, when you cut the king on the 8th rank, you just go with boom. He goes like this. Your king is going towards his king. You go g6, and now
it's
you
made.
have plenty of mating possibilities. Okay. Here, or just here. If you want to torture your opponent, then give him check here and wait for him to be polite and to resign. Unless you want to mate him afterwards like this. So that's one way very important. You've seen how did I teach my son to mate with the rook?
Yeah. Mating with the rook I'm actually very familiar with, funnily enough.
Really? Show me how you mate with the rook out of this position. Let's go.
I mean, you do the same thing. You cut him off, and then eventually you can squeeze. You have to. This one you actually do have to use the king, though, right?
Easier said than done. So show me how.
So I guess I have to do. Can I do it on my screen?
No, because you gotta show that you know the notation. Otherwise, they will say this guy's teaching him chess. He doesn't even know notation.
Okay, d5.
You mean rook d5?
Yeah.
I go here.
Does it? So this I guess is a. Does it matter if I go king e4 or d4 like at all?
Perfect. Both are fine. And
okay.
You know what? In this endgames, you even have this when you click the mouse, and mouse just shows you on the board whether you're supposed to do on the red square, which is terrible, or a green square, which is good. And that's how you also do. Yeah. But that only works and it's applicable for chess base.
Okay.
And in endgames, it's called table base because it's positioned with all given positions that are one or they're just drawn. Anyways, king e4, I go here.
I think you move the king over again, right?
No, you squeeze out. You actually cut the king off with the rook.
I was doing it a much longer way than that. Okay, yep, that's a lot smarter.
Well, you told me that you watched the video. So, he goes like this.
Yeah.
You once again cut him off.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
He goes like this. You can't mate your opponent without the help of the king.
Yeah.
He goes here. You certainly don't want to give check because at the moment he only has 6 squares. Look at this. This rook is covering.
You go
this square.
King up to e6.
So he basically has these 6 squares.
Go king up to e6.
Exactly. If you go like this,
he goes
all
down.
of a sudden he's gonna have like 10 squares.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let that happen.
Yeah.
So you just go with like king e6. That's why you lose tempo, let's say, with the king. But at the same time, king is getting closer to your rook and his king. He goes here. Let's go, Cody. Same system.
I'll just move the rook up.
Where?
F6.
Congratulations. And now he only has like this very poor 4 squares. King goes g8.
You still move the rook up.
Exactly. Now poor king only has 2 squares.
King over to f6.
Exactly.
king over to g6.
And checkmate.
Checkmate, yeah.
Congratulations. So once again, just to make sure that you're good enough. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. You're white.
D5.
No, I'm not gonna let that happen. We're gonna play from new position. King has to be here. His king has to be so king f2 and king to be here. Let's go. It's your turn. It's white.
I would move the king up to e3.
Nice. Now you're confused.
D3 with the king.
King goes to D3.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
This is one of those moments where you need to lose the tempo.
Yeah.
And if it goes like this,
you can move the you move the rook over to the right.
Perfect. Then you cut it off finally. And if king goes like this,
you do not move the rook up. You move the king.
You can do that, but actually he's gonna say thank you.
You're
such a kind person.
Yeah, no, you do not do that. I would probably move king to. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. Okay.
You just have to use technique
Yeah.
of squeezing out the king with the rook and helping the rook to squeeze out the king by king.
Yeah.
So you play king e4. He goes like this. You
rook
cut
up
it
to
off.
d5, yeah.
He goes like this. You lose tempo.
Yep.
He goes like this. You cut it off. He goes like this. King is getting closer. He goes like this. You go closer to his king. You cut it off. As soon as they go on the back rank, thank you, baby. Now the rest should be easy. King is getting closer to his king. You can once cut him, not again, because this would be stalemate.
Yes.
You just go here. He goes here, and I usually say you never go on any of these squares, but you actually go on any of these squares on the file because you need to lose tempo. When the king goes here, then you say checkmate.
Okay.
Another important endgame to work on. For example, this is just to be faster when it comes to queen and king against the king. So once again, golden rule: when the queen meets the king, never use the king till you force it on the on the 8th or 1st rank, or one of the wing files, so like A or H file. Once you do that, once you cut the king on the 8th, 1st rank, or wing ranks, then you start using the king. How? By going towards his king and mating it eventually.
The only thing that's scary is stalemates. I know how to not stalemate. I have to remember in tournament how not to stalemate.
Okay, that's good enough. Rule of the opposition and how important it is. It's gonna be very obvious, for example, in this position. So take a look at this one and tell me, how would you assess this game if it's white to move and if it's black to move?
In both cases, I would just move up the king 1.
So wait a sec. If it's white to move, what should white do?
I hope I'm not wrong. King to e4.
Okay. Why? What is that?
Because it's literally the rule you're supposed to follow with the king.
But that's not a point. I just want to force you to learn the rule of the opposition. You go in the opposition.
Yeah.
Understand that?
Yeah.
So you go in the opposition, and basically you're squeezing out this king.
Yeah.
This king goes here. What do? There are 3 types of oppositions. I said there is a short, medium, and long. But there is also straight opposition. Straight opposition when the king is in front of the king, like this.
So I'm not worried about him he can't go to d5.
Just a moment. There is a straight opposition.
Okay.
There is a knight opposition where you squeeze out the king just like the knight goes and jumps. Yeah. And there is also diagonal opposition. In this case, you use the knight opposition trying to squeeze out his king.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at this endgame.
Yeah.
And can you maybe figure out the way for black to not to resign, but to make a draw? Keep in mind, you have 3 types of oppositions: knight, diagonal, and straight. First of all, you cannot get the straight opposition. Here, straight would be like this. But it doesn't work. Should you be going for diagonal or knight opposition? Should you go on e7 or on d7? Opposition in pawn endgames is everything. It's like so
I'm
important.
guessing. So I'm gonna be wrong, but that's okay.
You won't guess anything.
I'm gonna guess d7 because I want to be able to defend the b pawn, and if I do knight opposition,
no, that's not a point. Point is to create a barrier with your king. And for example, when I work on the opposition with kids, like over the board, I always stand up and I say, try to pass here. And then when they try to pass on the right side, I just step on the right side. And they can't go there. When they try on the left, I just step with my leg on the left. And then I say, that's the opposition. Yeah. I'm not allowing your king to make a break.
Yeah.
So you go king d7. It's diagonal opposition. And what is happening? I try to break like this. Now you go into the straight and you say, baby, you can't move.
Yeah. So this
he goes here, you keep the opposition. He wants to go from there, you take the opposition. But what happens if in this position, he goes here?
I think you do the knight up, or you probably do the knight up. You can't go to c6. Interesting.
Just use the rule of the opposition and everything.
I guess you go to c7, just still, right?
Not to c7, because in that case, I'll go to e6, and then you won't keep the opposition on c6 like in previous example, like this. It's covered by this.
So you just go to.
But you go on e7, keeping the straight and the short opposition. This is straight short opposition. And now, king wants to step here. Finally, you say, "Where are you going, man? You won't be able to step anywhere." So basically, I'm doing kind of a barrier with this.
So this is a draw, right?
This is a draw. This is a draw. Let's imagine same position, black to be on move. It's a little bit different situation. It's a little bit different assessment, and it's an easy one if it's black to move.
So you go e5
so
first.
I'm gonna flip up the board. You're black.
Okay, so you go e5 first.
You go e5. Why do you go e5, Cody?
Because you're trying to force his king out.
Because you're getting the opposition.
Yeah.
If I go here, you go towards the pawns and you win the endgame. I gotta go here. So by e5, you just took straight, short opposition. Once again, there are three types of oppositions. Short, where the distance between two kings is 1 rank. Medium, 3 ranks. Long, 5 ranks. There are other 3 types of oppositions. Straight, like this one. In this position, when they play king to d3, which turns out to be the only move, there is a knight opposition, the way you squeeze out this king. Yeah. And finally, the way he tries to hold you in this game is to take the diagonal opposition, but this time it doesn't work. It's not enough.
He's too far away.
Actually, he can't. You're just squeezing out his king, and you're gonna pick up this pawn. Yeah. He can't take the straight opposition because then you take the pawn, and you're winning. If he goes here, win this endgame. Use the opposition rule.
E3.
E3. King to b3. I see how interesting this position is, and this lesson is you're just yawning like crazy.
That's what happens when I oversleep. D3.
Nice. You once again take the straight, short opposition, and then you finally say your opponent, "Man, I'm squeezing your king finally out. I'm about to win the pawn on c4, and you're about to go home." So king goes to b2, you take it, and now you just go after these pawns, win them both.
So white lost because of the pawn structure, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But it's quite interesting that in this position, if it's white to move, by taking the opposition, he can make a draw.
Yeah. But white
Why?
cannot
Because
win here.
his king is way more active, and he doesn't give this king on e5 squared d4, which is important because once they reach the d4 square, c4 pawn is about to fall.
Okay.
I wish you the really best of luck in this competition.
I wish myself the best of luck in this competition.
Yeah. I actually call all my subscribers on my channel. There are like at the moment 6,000 of them to come on Saturday to watch you. We're gonna have one more lecture. It's gonna be on Saturday in the morning. Hopefully you won't be in the jacket next time. It's gonna be
nice.
way warmer next time in your place.
We had 2 feet of
definitely
snow.
11 p.m. Serbian time, Smashers Gambit. Cody is playing ESAM, and hopefully he's gonna go through and go to semifinals.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.